All right, on this episode of Bowks Talking Bouts, excited to be talking to an individual who has quite the intriguing fight coming up here. It is a rematch set for BKFC 26. It transpires on June the 24th, and we have Elvin Brito clashing with Luis Palomino, both guys knuckling up and towing the line in a rare champ versus champ clash. And happy to be talking to Elvin on today's show. How are you feeling there, man?
Feeling good, man. It's just working hard, always busy. I'm ready to fight. I've been
Yeah, and it seems like
come down to Miami, my special delivery.
Yeah, for sure. It seems like there's a lot of banter heading into this one. Obviously, this being a rematch and everything like that, a couple heated exchanges. Are you looking forward to finally, getting out there and kind of settling the score on this one? Because it seems like this guy's been in the proverbial crosshairs since the first time you guys ran it there in February 2020.
Yeah, and I've been kind of letting them talk, man, because I know what I've been up to. I know what they've been up to. And when I was in Miami and making them look stupid, showing them why I'm the welterweight champion. I'm the best at the best of what I do.
Yeah, and I mean, I saw some interviews after the first Palomino fight where you were kind of talking about how, like, maybe you should have been more aggressive. I also saw a social media post where you were saying that it was, like, the last time you finished a fight without feeling winded. Like, what were the major takeaways from that first go-around at BKFC 10? I mean, obviously not giving away the strategy per se, but I would think there's a few takeaways that can be applied to the rematch here.
Yeah, well, even if I give you my strategy, we'll be able to do anything about it anyway. But it was, that was 2020. It was a different time for me. It was a different mindset. I wasn't out there to get hurt for the money that I was paying. He just had driving me at the time. He did way better than me. I was expecting him to make a mistake at some point, and I was just, I didn't realize real early that he really can't hurt me. He never really got me in danger. And, I could really just laugh at his best effort. I could shrug it off, and I know he can't really do much damage. So I know 165 will probably be a little bit strong, but I've been 165 champion. And I've been a champion at 165 since I started fighting in the division, and I'm undefeated at it. And I've been fighting 165 again for the last 2 years. Been building myself up as a 165er, and there's only so much you can do with the time that we have, and gaining the weight to fight it, to be a true welterweight, and having the world-class cardio that you need to fight a guy like me. So I really think that Palomino has, besides the little narrative that they got going in their head and their belief in themselves and their abilities, they have a lot of things going against them going into this fight against me, a seasoned veteran at 165. And it's going to be interesting to see what they do when I change their plans and I'm the one putting pressure on them, like I always do.
Yeah, and I mean, cementing yourself in the last outing as the inaugural kind of champion. I mean, I imagine that would hold a certain level of high regard to you, just being the first champion in that weight category in the promotion. Like, how did that make you feel in the fallout from January 29th?
Well, it was a great experience. It's just the whole thing building up to it. The whole thing was about trajectory and confidence and things going the way they're supposed to. So we were ready for that fight. Like, I told everybody in my team, I had a solid team in the champ camp. And I told them that I was going to be a champion before I went out there. I went to his hometown, El Bandido, and, come get my belts because I'm the champion. And I wanted to get the belts so people have to admit that I am the champion, and I am as great as I believe I am. And I still, there's a lot of people that still doubt me, and this is going to cement my legacy as one of the most important bare knuckle fighters in modern times, because we got going with the champ camp out here, the team that we're building, the community that we're building, and the trajectory that we're doing, the style that we're coming up with, and the methods, the bare knuckle, and I was really loving and falling in love with this bare knuckle stuff. It just turned out being completely different than what we expected when it first started. Situation, and and hey man, this is. I believe that I was put here for a reason, and that our trajectories meet again for a reason, that he called me out at home, and that's all I can be in front of everybody, and just sure as habit, he called me out, and I feel like everything's going the way it's supposed to go for me, and I think these guys, everything's been going their way. It's different when things go your way. It's kind of easy to get, kind of lose sight of what's going on around you and the work that's being put around you. And I think the oblivious nature of this whole call-out coming into 165 by Palomino is going to end up being a very, very painful experience for him. But it will be a learning experience. It'll be better for it.
Yeah, and I briefly wanted to touch on something before going into my next question, just because, if you get the ideal outcome here, he's looking to pursue that champ sort of status, and you're not altogether unfamiliar with, 155 there, having competed there under the BKFC banner before. Would, an ideal outcome kind of manifest where the rubber match happens, but his title is up for grabs, or are you even thinking about that?
His title is not up for grabs. It's my title. He's challenging. I'm the only champion that night.
No, but in the rubber match, I'm saying, if you get the ideal outcome here.
I might decide to just come down and take his belt. I'm really not interested. I'm okay with staying in my lane. And I've built myself over 65 already, so it would suck to go down to 155 for me, because it really is a rough cut to 65. So it's going to be rough again to go 55. So I would rather stay in my lane, but I would love doing the trilogy. Might make sense because it's just a comeuppance kind of thing, and it might make sense because sometimes that's just how the universe plays itself out. So that I can see that happening. But even if I do claim, I go down, whip his ass again, and get his belt. I'm going to be happy just being in my lane, being the 65 champion, and doing my thing here with my people and the jungle camp and all our projects that we got planned. That all these fights are hanging. It's all hanging on this. So it's really important for a fight for us. This is a great fight. It's going to be huge for everybody. We're really excited about it.
Yeah, well, to that point of staying in your own lane, you could very well defend your title here, and then you could also avenge, your only other BKFC loss to Jim Allers, who, as of this recording, is still ranked number 1 in the weight category. So definitely some options there that I would imagine would intrigue.
Yeah, well, same as, I know that Jim Allers fighted 65. I don't even have to worry about going down to 65 to fight him home. I don't know if he's going to want to fight me after he sees what I do with Palomino, but if he still thinks that he's got my number, he's already beat me twice in 2 different arts, so he might feel like he got my number. Even he might see a massacre and be like, "No, I got it." But that's a possibility in the future, and that might be, like I said, it might be another chance for reality corrects itself. But I don't really dwell on the past. I'm only thinking about where I am now in the future, all the plans that we got. So those are learning experiences for me. Those 2 losses at 155 was my only loss at 155. It's against some of the best guys around. These guys are going to go down in history. And so it really all depends on how it all plays out, man. The story might take a crazy turn like it's been taken. I never expected to be the BKFC champion, but I knew once we had it, once the mindset took in and the right spirit took over, that it was not going to be able to stop me. It was not going to be anybody stopping what we're doing.
Yeah, and I saw the social media post you had a little bit ago about the jungle camp and stuff like that, and that seems like the premier, bare knuckle camp in the world, or very close to it, certainly in the conversation, working with fellow BKFC champ Lorenzo Hunt. Can you talk about the quality of work there, because it seems like you've created a great gym culture there?
Yeah, we got a lot of great people that came and train with us. We got our local guys, but we just had Jake Jackson land yesterday. Might as well be here at the end of the week. Again, we had the Brent Beltran, Joey Beltran. I've had Chris Sorrow come down here before. We had, I've even had Brandon Lampert. He's actually been a huge help for the team. He enables a lot of us to be out. A lot of the guys come out here and have a place to stay. And we had a couple of amateurs come out here and stay with us for a long time, and it's been something that it's been good for everybody. And it's only going to get better. And we plan on doing a lot of local stuff, and there's a lot of work to be done. And there's a lot of fights still to be done, and I'm really excited about it. I'm hungry. I haven't rested. I got home. I took a breath. We ran Zach Calma's training camp. As soon as we got done with that, we did Lorenzo's training camp, and then I took a breath with that and right back to my training camp. And it's just like, this is what we do. This is like, we're out here. It's just best of the best, always pushing each other to the limit. And this fight is a really significant fight, but at the end of the day, it's just another fight for me. And my plan is to be me. I'm unstoppable at 165. I've proven in all my 5 outings at 165 that I make this look easy. I make it look fun. And that in itself should be a pretty dangerous sign that I know what I'm doing, because this sport is not easy. This sport is not fun. This is the hardest, form of combat out there right now. And that's why I'm the best, what I do, for a reason. And they're going to find out in a couple of weeks. Time's ticking.
And I wanted to kind of touch on something that was related to an interview you did, like, relatively short after the Harris-Stevenson fight, where you were saying, like, to be honest, in bare knuckle, we're all amateurs and trying to figure this out. But it feels like where you're at now, it feels like the fight IQ refinement and the deeper understanding is very much there. I'm kind of wondering, like, did you notice there was, like, that transition period where you're like, okay, now, like, this, amateur-minded, like, figuring it out kind of thing, as you had, alluded to in that quote? Did you notice, like, the dynamic changing more, where you're like, okay, now my fight IQ is really shining through here, and I'm really, like, building on that?
Yeah, well, I've always had really good fight IQ. I knew my first bare knuckle contract, I went back and watched BKFC more, and I know about the past history of bare knuckle with some of the greats and how many fights they had in the rounds and all that they did. And all I could think was, there has to be a better way. There has to be a better method. This isn't boxing. This isn't MMA. So from the start, it's been kind of like an introduction to martial arts. And I think that was what's addicted to a lot of us. A lot of the ones that have stayed around and kind of made us our homies, that when we first started doing bare knuckle, it's when you're in the back, it's like the race again. It's like all or nothing. You don't really know what and then there's such a huge advantage, that little bit of experience. We're gonna lose that first fight. I won my first fight bare knuckle. It was Friday night. It was a great experience for me. I learned a lot from it. Like I said, I learned a lot from my 2 losses. And the reason that I remain undefeated is because I understand we're different. And it's been a discovery from the beginning. And we've just been sharing it with people. People get it, and they see it. And it's one thing to talk about it. But when you show people, you show them in the ring, when they square up with you and you show them, they're like, holy shit, women. People, I have some of the best guys that come out here to live out here with. It's not because it's easy or because it's fun. It's because it's, we're getting it together. I don't think that we have the only. There's a lot of different, just like boxing, there's a lot of different styles that are going to work. But we're one of the few schools that's working a new methodology from everything from your jab, from your weight distribution, from your movement, from the way you defend, transitions from attack, and just understanding the fight. There's a lot of minutia involved, and I think that's why a lot of people, it just kind of goes over their head, because there's a lot of minutia that goes unseen to the untrained eye, the guy who's just watching. He just sees 2 guys punching each other. But if you know what you're looking at, you'll see a lot of these. What we're doing out here. Guys like Lorenzo, he's 9-1. There's a reason why people can't touch him. And he's really powerful guy, really strong guy, but he also has a great understanding of what he's getting himself into. And that's what we're doing. We kind of all putting it all together. It's like an amalgamation of all this different knowledge. It's kind of like we learn from every guy that comes down here. Joy Beltran was, he's like a big brother. He has all this knowledge, and everybody's just sucking it off him. And we're all learning from each other. And I think staying a student, staying grounded, is what really makes you a master. And that's what we become a master of this artist. The humility that it takes to say, hey, I don't know what I'm doing. Let's figure it out. It's still me. But the reason I'm a champion is because I'm willing to deliver it when it's time. When we get in the circle and the rope snap down, I'm willing to put it all out there. And that was something that we didn't do when we first started, because we didn't know what we were doing. But it's a different time, and it's really exciting, man. I love this sport. And, I can't wait for the future, and I can't wait for this fight. Time's ticking. Let's get over there.
Yeah, well, it makes sense that in that, aforementioned caption, you referred to the camp as the most relevant premier center of neo-pugilism. I mean, that's kind of shining through in the description there for sure.
Yeah. It's been. I'm glad that we've had a lot of guys like some champions come out here and and we all, we're able to do all this stuff, and it all just came together. It's just for me, it was a question of just answering the call and doing what needed to be done and playing my role. A lot of people always come up with excuses, but I wake up every day knowing what I have to do. Sometimes we don't want to do it, and I still do it because that's what it is. I make sure every time that phone rings, metaphorical phone that is ringing, I make sure I answer it every time. I have no excuses. I'm ready to go. That's what makes you. That's what makes you great when you do it. That's what makes you a leader, whether you're unwilling to do it or not. But you have to. You just have to do things that need to be done. And that's why I'm a champion. And there's a lot of work that goes unseen and it goes unappreciated. But I think we're gonna get a little bit closer to the truth in June 24th as far as who's the best at this sport.
And as far as some of that behind the scenes work, because I've talked to some bare knuckle fighters that will, go into the hand, strengthening kind of stuff. Like they've got like the wooden like Muay Thai boards or like punching sand. A lot of other bare knuckle fighters kind of like laugh at that, and they're just like, oh, I don't know about any of that. I just kind of train boxing and show up more, so I don't do any of that like hit my hand with a stick kind of stuff. Like where are you on that end?
Oh well, I'm pragmatic, man. I'm practical. You have to strengthen your hands. I don't really be hitting hard stuff, like too much hitting like hardwood or bricks. I like hitting a nice heavy bag that has good give that will hurt your hands if you don't hit it properly. I focus on points of contact and contact points. Where your punch is landing, how your punch is landing is really important. That's why we're able to go 31 rounds without a hand injury. I can land like 40 punches per round, keep landing that left hook over and over, and I walk out. I never had to ice my hands or anything. A lot of it has to do with points of contact and just knowing that you can't punch a guy on top of the head. You have to know where you're hitting them. You have to know how you're hitting them. And really, every punch, uppercut, jab, hook, all your modified punches, your overhands, you should always be mindful of how you're landing. And when I first hit the bag, my hands hurt for like the whole training camp, and my knuckles got all peeled up from the bag because I'm used to just having the bag for years. But now I could hit that bag hard all day, just wrap my wrist and hit that bag hard all day, blast that bag, blast the pads, blast the I can have the coach hold the shield, just hit as hard as I can. So I do that over and over and around, and only do that because of the that it takes to do that. But if you're punching like hard rock, it's only going to calcify your bones. It's only going to make your hands more brittle when you execute. I only see that like hurting your hands, like punching hard stuff. Like it's only going to calcify your bones. You want to harden the hands, toughen the skin, condition your body. But punching hard shit, it's going to break things.
Yeah, no, that's fair insight for sure, man. And one of the, very last things I wanted to kind of touch on here, I feel like I'd be remiss if I didn't ask how, Poncho the GOAT is doing. He seems like a good part of the training processes and everything like that. Are you guys still doing the test of strength kind of stuff, like going head to head and all that? How's
all the time, but lately he's been in a really long rut lately. It's like he's been just focused on the girls, really hungry because he's just spent a lot of time just following the girls around. So I'm gonna kind of let him do his thing. But when he snaps out of it, I still play with him, but it's not that he's aggressive. He's just really distracted right now. So I'm just letting him do his thing. That's his weakness, the female of the species. I'm just letting him do his thing. And but I'm like, bro, I gotta get ready for this fight. But he's still part of it. You still see him every day. I feed him twice a day. I go up to the spot, to the shack, and take care of him. It's kind of like part of my security. It's part of our thing. And he's three girls, 3 new kids just came out, all girls. Thanks to Pancho, you got another couple, 2 more girls pregnant. So stocks are up right now. I'm pretty happy with Pancho right now.
Yeah, they seem to think Poncho is the GOAT in like the greatest of all time kind of context. It seems like he's doing all right for himself.
Oh yeah, he's so great. He's living the life. Yes, he's the dude. I'm jealous. I want to be Pancho. He's living. He got all his girls. He got the love shack. So he's getting fed. Got a whole bunch of space. No predators. He's the man. Yeah, he's the top of the food chain. Loving it.
Yeah, he's out here in a big way, it seems like. But it was great getting you on the show, man. I do want to be mindful of your schedule and all that, though, for sure. You got a big fight coming up and all that, so I imagine you have a lot on the go, man. So
we're ready. We're always ready.
BKFC 26, Brito, Palomino 2. It goes down, and we've got that championship, the welterweight gold specifically, on the line in this champ versus champ rematch affair. This is Bowks Talking Bouts.